Drogba! Yes!
Makes space for the shot, he does! And Drogba, yet again! And the header by Drogba, 1-1. Drogba. And that's why... No surprise that it's Didier Drogba on this ground.
They called him the African King, the only player to score 10 goals in 10 finals while winning 10 trophies. He was the man you called when you needed a goal in any important match, regardless of the difficulty. But how good was prime Didier Drogba, and how did he make Chelsea to be considered as one of the top teams in English football today? Didier Yves Drogba Tebier was born on March 11, 1978 in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. At just 5 years old, Drogba was sent to France to live with his uncle Michel Goubart, a professional footballer who was playing for Stade Brestois 29, a club in Brittany, France. Being so young and moving to a new country, Drogba missed his family and had to return to Abidjan just 3 years after leaving. However, the god of football, I guess, had other plans, as it threw him another curveball when his parents lost their jobs and he was forced to move back to France in 1991. Shortly after returning to France, Drogba joined a local youth side in Vannes, where he quickly earned a reputation as a goal-scoring prodigy. Even at a young age, Drogba's talent and dedication on the field were more than anything the coaches had ever seen. 15-year-old Drogba started playing team football more seriously when he became part of the youth academy of Les Valois and soon stood out. Despite early setbacks, his perseverance paid off, as he later joined Le Mans FC in the 1997-98 season, signing his first professional contract at 21. In January 2002, he joined Guingamp and truly began making a name for himself, netting 17 goals in 34 league games, leading to a transfer to one of the top French clubs, Olympique de Marseille, in 2003. At Marseille, Drogba's career reached new heights. He wasn't slowing down, and in all honesty, it was seen in his game stats. The now fully fledged professional player scored 19 goals in 35 domestic matches and an additional 11 goals in European play. His performance was so insane that in just a year of joining the club, he went on to help the club reach the 2004 UEFA Cup final. Granted, they ultimately lost 2-0 to Valencia, but once again, he just got to the club and he'd already led them to the finals. Drogba was extraordinary, and if you don't take my word for it, you better believe the word of the special one, Chelsea's 2004 coach Jose Mourinho.
He was already playing for Guingamp and Marseille and other loans, so when I take him to Chelsea again...
That same year, in July, Mourinho signed Drogba to Chelsea for a then record-breaking £24 million. It's been 20 years since that deal was made, and Drogba is still the most expensive Ivorian player in history. That's how much faith Mourinho had in Drogba. Getting to Chelsea, Drogba changed the whole Premier League. In fact, in his debut season, Drogba helped the club win their first league title in 50 years. Under Jose Mourinho, Drogba played a type of football that would absolutely change the way his position was played forever. Drogba was a striker blessed with the ability to find the net. In fact, in his debut season, the man scored 16 goals in all competitions. If you still doubt the Ivorian beast, just look at this goal against Manchester United, or this one against Everton. But it wasn't just the goals that made him stand out, it was the timing of the goals. The man was what you'd call a big game player or a clutch player. He was always ready to pull out a goal when the club needed him most. One of those standout goals was in his debut season when he scored in extra time of the Carabao League Cup final against Liverpool to help Chelsea win the match 3-2. That's right, he scored the goal that won him his first trophy with the club. Talk about his work rate. That year, Didier Drogba helped Chelsea have one of the most amazing seasons ever. With him, the team earned 95 points, the most ever in a Premier League season at the time. They won 15 away games, the most any team had won in a single season. They even kept the most clean sheets with 25 games where the opposite teams couldn't smell the net. They only allowed 9 goals in away games, the fewest ever, and went on to win 29 games in total, the most in a season. Perhaps the craziest part is that they only let in 15 goals, which was also the overall fewest in a season. But somehow Drogba was just stepping into his prime. Because next year, with goals like this, and this, Drogba set himself apart from the pack, becoming the top scorer in the Premier League, netting a whopping 20 goals and winning the Premier League Golden Boot. Across all competitions, Drogba scored 33 goals and managed to win the club the FA Cup against Manchester United and the Carabao Cup in a final against Arsenal. Still not impressed? Well, in the match against Arsenal, Drogba literally carried his team as he scored both goals in the 2-1 final. The man was unstoppable. He was every centre-back's nightmare. He had it all. He was strong, quick, intelligent, dropped into spaces that centre-backs didn't want to go, and even regularly created a lot of goals from his movement for stars like Lampard. His performance that year also saw him named in the FIFA World 11 for 2007. And going into the 2007-2008 season, Drogba was ready to prove a point. Sadly, Chelsea were plagued by Manchester United, who made them narrowly miss out on both the League Cup and the FA Community Shield trophy. That year, tragedy struck as in March 2008, Drogba suffered a knee injury during a Premier League match against Tottenham Hotspur. The injury was quite serious and required surgery, leading to a lengthy recovery period. Despite this setback, Drogba went on to play in the Africa Cup of Nations for his home country, Ivory Coast. Upon his return, he wasted no time reclaiming his spot and scored in the 2008 League Cup final, making him the all-time leading scorer in League Cup finals with 4 goals. Unfortunately, that wasn't Chelsea's year, as they lost 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspur. Breaking records once again, Drogba became Chelsea's top scorer in European competition with 17 goals, surpassing the iconic Peter Osgood's record. And as you would expect of the magician, he did it in style, as in the Champions League semi-final against Liverpool. He scored not 1 but 2 goals in the second leg, leading Chelsea to a 3-2 victory and their first ever Champions League final. Sadly, 2007-2008 was the year of almost for Chelsea, as once again Cristiano Ronaldo's Manchester United stole their thunder and Chelsea lost 6-5 in the penalty shootout after a 1-1 draw in extra time. Despite the defeat, Drogba finished the season with over 30 goal contributions and a fire that made the next year just so much more deadly. After an injury-plagued season, Drogba returned into the 2009-2010 season to absolutely tear things up. Under him and Carlo Ancelotti, Chelsea broke the goal-scoring record in a single English Premier League season with a mind-numbing 103 goals. But that year, Drogba was most definitely the star of the show, scoring goals like this, and this. That year, Drogba scored 29 goals, making him the top scorer in the league. But that wasn't all. Under manager Ancelotti, Chelsea overtook Manchester United to win the Premier League title, ending their run of 3 consecutive championships, and even won the FA Cup, completing one of the most memorable doubles ever. It was also the year Drogba scored this absolute banger of a goal against Portsmouth. That year, Drogba won the prestigious Premier League Golden Boot and was also named in the PFA Team of the Year. 8 years after joining the club in March 2012, he became the first African player to score 100 Premier League goals. Just 2 months later, in an electric UEFA Champions League final against Bayern Munich, Drogba made history as in the 88th minute, the Ivorian star did this. Scoring the equalising goal, Drogba sent the match into extra time and gave his team the chance to fight on. As the game came to penalties, the striker scored the decisive penalty in the shootout and led Chelsea to their first ever Champions League title. But what made it even more insane was that same year, he scored the winning goal in the final against Liverpool, securing a 2-1 victory and making him the first player to score in 4 FA Cup finals. Lampard probably said it best.
Yeah, Jim, I remember particularly that run up to the final that Didier became a different person for those big games. In the warm up, it was like he was caged, he was ready to go, and you could see it, and you knew he had the ability to do it, and he was confident in that.
After winning Chelsea all there was to win, on the 19th of June 2012, Drogba had signed a lucrative deal with Shanghai Shenhua in the Chinese Super League. He debuted on July 22nd, but shortly after, in January 2013, Drogba joined Galatasaray on a high-paying contract, despite a contract dispute with Shenhua. As usual, he quickly made his mark. Drogba scored crucial goals in the Champions League and even led the team to several titles, including the Turkish Super Cup. On July 25, 2014, every Chelsea's fan's dream came true, as Drogba rejoined Chelsea on a free transfer, signing a one-year contract. Fans and even new players were all excited for his return, which genuinely felt like a reunion. I mean, even Jose Mourinho was there to lead the team. Wearing the number 15 shirt, later switching back to the number 11, Drogba returned to the Premier League on August 18, 2014, and as expected, made a significant impact, including scoring a penalty in the Champions League and reaching his 350th appearance for Chelsea. On May 24, 2015, Drogba played his final match for Chelsea, ending his career at the club with a total of 104 Premier League goals, the most by an African player at that time. Drogba wasn't just an average striker, no. He was the heartbeat of Chelsea's prime and the oil that kept them moving. I mean, the man scored 46 with his right foot, 19 with his left, 17 with his head, and only 4 penalties. Every part of him was a weapon, and every part of him worked for Chelsea.
I don't think you can replace Drogba. You can buy top players, you can invest like Chelsea did, but Drogba, there is only one.
With 365 goals in 791 games for club and country, Didier Drogba is perhaps the most prolific Chelsea player to ever touch the ball. I mean, even Gerard Piqué, Karl Puyol and Nemanja Vidic have all agreed he was one of their most difficult opponents to defend against. Zabaleta even admitted he was undoubtedly the strongest player he had ever had to defend. Scoring 10 goals in 10 finals while winning 10 trophies, Drogba has still in recent times won the 2020 UEFA President's Award. But perhaps his greatest achievement was being one of the few people who Jose Mourinho really liked. But what do you think about his legacy? Who would you like us to cover next? And where do you think Drogba would rate among today's strikers? Let us know in the comments section below, and while you're at it, make sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all football-related things. And if you enjoyed this video, watch this video next. Until next time.